sign Directive Number 1 of the Law Enforcement Center Corporate Remodeling Project, deleting audiovisual scope of work in its entirety from the project with decrease of 0.
Chairman, I move item 5.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
A motion is second. Any other comment on that?
That is the Compass Technologies bid, and they will be directly working with our IT person. Since that will be a long-term relationship, we thought that would be the best fit for it.
I have a question. Do we not have an amount for that?
I don't know where the amount of 0 came from. It doesn't change the amount of the total project because it comes out from Colossus Construction's contract, but goes back in under ours. So the actual bottom line amount does not change when it affects to the Compass Technologies. So total project cost doesn't.
Okay, but this is a change directive. I guess are we changing the contract because it says you're here by directive with following changes in this contract and deleting something, and yet we have a contract out of Colossus. Should we be expecting a change on this amount?
The amount of whatever Compass Technologies is $79,790. It comes out of Colossus contract and then it's put back in under us. So the total project cost is the same.
But, Randy, I don't know if you can help me or not. Would this not be changing the contract we have with Colossus?
To increase is so much. I would agree with you probably that we should be decreasing Colossus contract by X amount of dollars.
It would seem to be.
I understand Mark's point that it's, in the end, it makes no difference, but you're probably right.
And I'm assuming it's just how it was put on the agenda. I don't know. I didn't ask for this to be on here this week. so
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
was strictly off of the directive, you should have a copy of it. And yeah, it struck me as odd, which is why I put the decrease, because normally you're decreasing the contract.
And it's how it
It's
came
to the
from.
contractor, Colossus. Colossus signs off on it,
Yep.
but nothing decreases his action.
And that doesn't seem right. So
There's an email to Chad on this, but that's why I'm surprised.
Is it still running through Colossus? Is that what you just said, though?
It's not according to Mark, so why don't we note it in the minutes that this decreases
It
Colossus?
decreases Colossus by $79,790.
And owner is responsible.
And our owner responsibility goes up $75,380, so there's a savings to it. But I asked Chad why the wording is this way, and that's why I did.
Is there any reason why this cannot be put on the future date?
I'll move to table. Second.
A motion is second to table item 5. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 6 on the agenda, receive and place on file semi-annual report of the Webster County Treasurer for a period of July to December 2014.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item number 6.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chair.
A motion is second. Any comments from the Treasurer? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 7 on the agenda, approve Class C native wine liquor license renewal application for Soldier Creek Winery effective April 1st, 2015.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
A motion is second. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 8 on the agenda, approve hiring and employment of Michael Sewell, PT Correctional Officer, effective March 23rd, 2015, at the rate of $14.43 per hour, per recommendation of Steve Alfred's jail administrator.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the hiring of the correctional officer.
Second.
A motion is second. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Item 9 on the agenda, place on file the separation of employment date of Deanna Lou, Transport Officer, effective March 4th, 2015, per Steve Alfred's jail administrator.
Chairman, I move item 9.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
A motion is second. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 10 on the agenda is review demolition bids for DBA 2015-001 Fisher and DBA 2015-02 Dickerson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You have received 2 bids for 2 demolitions that the county County is doing under the dilapidated building program. One of them from D&L Metal for both properties is $12,000, and the other one from Chris Benclaw is for $11,750. Both contractors have done this work for us in the past, and we've been pleased with it, both contractors.
Any other comments? Anything else from anybody else? Okay, well, go to item number 11. Authorize chair to approve and sign demolition contract with DBA 2015-01 Fisher, DBA 2015-02 Dickerson to Mr. Nicol.
He is the lowest bid, yes.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second this motion, Mr. Chairman.
A motion and a second. Any other comments? I think we've done work with 54 down there. And you just have to look at it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12 on the agenda, discuss replacement of carpet tile in Webster County Engineer's Office.
Yeah, on the 10th, I sent you an email. I guess what I said to you was Carver Road has will be replacing carpet in public health in the treasurer's office. And I believe, a while back, I don't know if it's anybody in time or whatever, I mentioned about it would be good to update ours. While they were in the working here, I think my assistant Jamie tracked down Mark Jorgensen of Carver Road, and he gave us a cost proposal. My email has said that we appreciate you considering the proposal. I put it on the agenda. That's great. Yeah.
Since then, I reached out to Jamie and asked him to get a couple other prices, just so we
Okay,
can.
well, he's been away
Okay.
on vacation, so if that's, if he's gonna get, I did know, I think if we needed multiple quotes, they're already working in the courthouse.
If I can make a comment, I guess I would like to encourage all of our department heads to try and work through Johnson Controls, soliciting bids on different projects, so that one of the functions that Johnson Controls is doing for us is getting specifications defined so that vendors can be bidding like proposals. And we've had a few issues with this on over at the DHS building and things like that, and so that's where Doug has been trying to provide that service to define what it is and define what it is carpet, define what the product is, so that everybody's bidding the same things. You don't get vendors saying, well, we did this, and the same thing. And then that way, and hopefully it makes your job easier too, because that's a service that Johnson controls.
Okay, I wasn't told to remember that, so I'll,
Yeah.
we'll work with John Controls and get multiple
Yeah. And I
proposals
agree.
and then talk.
Yeah, I would agree with that, that he's developed a plan so that carpet's not apples to apples all the time. So those types of projects have to go through there, and then also everybody has to realize that these are capital expenditures, and you have to make sure that that we're aware and plenty of time that you want to do these things, because quite honestly, if you're gonna do this before July 1st, I don't know that I'll agree to it. Because we've already spent on capital projects for this year. So just, I think all department heads have to realize that you can't just pop these up. We need to kind of pre-plan and do it through Johnson Controls. I have no doubt that you need carpet up there, and I'll approve the carpet, but it would be nice to maybe do it after July 1st.
Yeah. Fine.
And hopefully by Doug, so we can get them going out and get into bids, it makes Jamie's job easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything else? Moving on to item 13, approve and authorize chair to sign utility agreement from Mid-American Energy to rebuild existing overhead electric transmission line along the west side of Sampson Avenue from 180th Street to 200th Street in section 12, 13, and 24, Township 89 North, Range 28 West, Cooper Township, to accommodate recent increases in load. I'll move item number 13.
I'll second that.
Motion second, any comments on that?
No, everything, just like it says, I think it was time to upgrade the line. They provided all the necessary documents.
Anything else? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 14 on the agenda, approve and authorize chair to sign a utility permit from Frontier Communications to replace 50 pair of 100 pair copper telecommunication cables damaged by installation of new water main along the west side of Whale Avenue in the fall of 2014.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the utility permit.
Second. A motion and second, any comments on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 15 on the agenda, approve application and permit from Jericho Services Incorporated to apply dust control treatment in 2015.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item number 15.
Second motion, Mr. Chairman.
A motion and second, any comment on that?
Yeah, they said they would provide calcium chloride, so if you approve this one, we'll have three vendors. It'd be Adino's, Mason City, and Jericho from Indianola, and then, Heffron from Indianola.
You want to explain the application permit so that people know?
Yeah, once again, what the board is doing is we're authorizing, they fill out a permit, submit a $50 permit fee, and they provide us security insurance, and we're allowing them to apply the material on the public road. However, it's between the citizen and the company to make payment, make arrangements. Our involvement is to prep the road right before they apply the dust control. Usually that's done twice a year.
How many vendors usually have chief?
We will have three now with Jericho. Last year we had maybe 5. And I know Edwards from Hampton is no longer going to do it. So, and I don't know. The only issue is Pro Co-op out of Pocahontas. They haven't submitted any documents.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Item 16, approve and authorize chair to sign contract documents with Chester Bross Construction Company, Hannibal, Missouri, for pavement planning improving project, FM-CO94-105-55-94, on Route P63, from Route D20 north to Route D14. So,
Second.
motion is second.
Yeah, I'll go over there quick files here. Again, this project is located on P63 between D20 and D14. This route was last paved in 1976 with 8 inches of Portland cement concrete. Obviously, it connects paved roads. It's a north-south road to connect D14, D18, and D20, 3 miles east of Fort Dodge. National Gypsum has used the south mile and a half to haul their mine gypsum to the processing plant on South 22nd Street in Fort Dodge. And the project consists of replacing the approach pavement at 2 bridges. And we're going to do some concrete patching. We're going to do some dowel bar retrofit. To explain that, the heavy traffic for several years in a row, the south mile and a half, when they leave their quarry and go southbound, they're loaded, and the Portland cement had solid joints, but they have faulted and warped. And this dowel bar retrofit, in the wheel pass, we grind 3 bars, two sets of 3 bars in the wheel line, and that ties it back together and protects it from completely wrecking the pavement. And that point out that the nearest application of this was on Highway 20, a mile or 2 west of Interstate 35. And then we're gonna, after that's all done, we're gonna lightly diamond grind the whole surface to get this for friction and rideability. And then all the cracks that are, the facade joints are gonna be crack filled with waterproof it, and then we'll do the paper marking. And this project was let by the DOT on February 17th. There were 3 bidders, and this Chester Bros Company, this company was a low bidder in the amount of $637,843.79. Their corporate office is in Palmyra, Missouri, but the mailing address is Hannibal, Missouri. And the project will be paid with funds from the Webster County's farm market account, which is kind of monitored by the DOT. So, I think, fail to look at the late start date is like August or something like that. We got about 30 days to do the work. if they come in sooner, during rag ride, we'll still be okay. D18 bisects that project, but there's no work on D18, so we're gonna be fine there.
Randy, how long is this whole process? Is that a proven, well-proven thing, or is it relatively new?
I don't know, it's new, it's fairly new to us in Webster County, but many counties with Portland Cement Roads have been doing it for quite a while. You gotta have the right application. Some of our Portland Cement roads, we have 80% asphalt roads and 20% Portland Cement roads. Some of our older Portland Cement roads had a thinner, they were thinner pavement, and how they deteriorated, we chose to crack and seed and overlay. This project, that option is a lot more costly, so what we chose to do here, or recommend to do here is, even though it's $637, it's well less than half or a third the cost of crack and seeding and overlaying. So I think it will last another 20 years anyway. So it's a lot cheaper than the alternative, and it's just I guess a tool that we identified that should work. And then, once again, even though it's fairly new to Webster County, it's not new to DOT, and it's not new to a handful of counties throughout the state. Because we utilize their input and some of their plans and notes to develop our plans and notes.
This will require closing the road, that we'll do that.
It'll be doing under pilot car. It won't, the only time we're going to have to actually close the road is up to 2 weeks to do the bridge approaches. We have to rip those out, put new pavement in, put guardrail on all 4 corners. After that's done, the road will be open through traffic during the work day, but we'll have a pilot car and one-way traffic, so never
Questions over any? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 17, we'll have a public hearing on fiscal year 2016 budget and 5-year construction program for Webster County Secondary Road Department.
Yeah, and I have a few extras that I don't think I forwarded you my cover letter last week. And I have a few extras, but, okay? Sure, sure. There you go. Okay, number one, the purpose of having a hearing is to demonstrate that you put notice in the paper, and we've done so, all 3 county newspapers. This has been published, that we're going to have this hearing about the 5-year program, our budget 5-year program. And I go through my outline. Each year, every county is required to submit their road budget and their secondary road 5-year program to the Iowa DOT on or before April 15. And the fiscal year 2016 road budget that I propose to submit to the DOT matches up with the auditor's secondary road budget that was approved last week. And so basically I have to submit 2 documents, one to the county and something that matches up to the DOT. I won't dwell too much on the budget. If you go to sheet 3, that's kind of a 1-page summary of receipts and expenses and so forth, where the revenue comes from and where the expenses are going. It's not real detailed, but it gives you an idea. With carryover balance and new revenues, we'll have $14,038,180 of revenues, and estimated expenditures are $12 million. That leaves a balance of $2,038,180. We need a decent balance for cash flow. I remind everybody, monthly we get road use tax. Twice a year we get transfers of property taxes. So, So on page 3, obviously I'd be glad to answer any questions, but I'm gonna keep going to the 5-year construction program. And then the construction program includes 66 projects at a total cost of $20 million, $605,000. There are 12 road improvement projects and 54 structure replacement projects. And then, you know, the funding, how we do these projects are funded by a combination of state road use tax, federal road use tax, local option tax, and property tax. And again, this is a pretty aggressive program. And I did make a highlight here, I guess it's kind of timely, that we do, and I will acknowledge that I've talked to you a couple times over the last 24 months or thereabouts about additional discussions and meetings where we need to address 2 bridges on Fairbanks Avenue between Highway 7 and 210th Street in Johnson Township. That's a pretty challenging, I mean, we have a lot of projects in the whole county in order to provide a transportation network of good roads and bridges. I will admit that this 2-mile stretch is one of the more challenging ones. I met with a taxpayer just a few minutes ago about this situation, and I'm probably going to have some meetings individually with landowners, I think, to get them versed on what we're talking about, and then we probably need to have information or public meetings that are, you know, where the public knows everything's going on. But you know, I can quickly, a couple more comments. The challenge of that 2-mile stretch is when you're southbound from Highway 7, first of all, you have the Canadian National goes over the top of our road. That creates a limited width and limited height situation, and it's not an ideal profile now. And then immediately south of that railroad overpass is a 3-ton posted bridge over Lizard Creek. And the challenge there is a new bridge would have to be similar size, slightly larger than the one that crosses the pavement going into Barnum. So probably 125-foot bridge. And DNR Corps of Engineers and DNR requirements require freeboard. You have to have so much freeboard at high water. We'd have to raise that. We were anticipating that to raise that bridge, new bridge, 3 to 4 feet, which creates a very difficult ramp down to get under the overpass. And then you continue south, and then we have another bridge that's posted 8-ton, I believe, that's actually owned by the Canadian National. And it's not an ideal situation either. They're promoting at-grade crossings. You know, I guess your options are replace it, do an at-grade, or close the road on both of these structures. And I acknowledge that we may, the most extreme thing would be to close the bridge, this is hypothetically, and you wouldn't landlock anybody, but as the citizen told me, they would have to go around on 7 to go under that restriction of the overpass. So that we'll have to have some pretty serious discussions in the near future, probably maybe after planting season would probably be the ideal thing. The landowners, agricultural people have a little more free time. So, okay. So what I've enclosed additionally is just to talk about the projects a little more, is page 4 lists 21 projects, I believe, that we're gonna, the key word is under contract between July 1st of 15 and June 30th of 2016. At 10:30, we're gonna have a letting, and they'll be under contract. They may not get done before July 1st, so we have a weird, fiscal year is not the best type of year for construction. You better have a calendar situation for capital projects or whatever. So I think you've seen this before, and then I would go on to page 5, which is the 5-year, you know, it's an attempt to prioritize. However, there's some challenging issues like I brought up earlier. The first year, the second year are pretty firm. The third, fourth, and fifth, there's some flex in what we can do there. But because of planning and permitting and all that, we got a pretty firm, serious plan the first year or two of our 5-year. So then I'm going to point out that sheet 6 and 7, I've included my chart of the farm to market funds, how the cash flow of the projects we have planned. We do have a negative balance. I'd say that's a bad thing, but we are aggressively doing projects. And we'll even have a negative balance even in addition to the 10-cent increase. The 10-cent increase that took effect March 1st will generate $986,000 additional funds. $240,000 is farm to market funds. The 700-some thousand will be transmitted to us monthly. But we are still within our borrowing restrictions, and there's no penalty or interest charge when you borrow ahead. The only drawback, I've told you this before, is if you had some special project, you had to get it done right now. And if you borrow ahead, it might make it more difficult to do. As far as the revenues, I just wanted to dwell on what I call the big three. We might have to stop when we get to 10:30, but the big three revenues are road use tax revenues. Like I said, it generates additional 986. Again, that's not all shipped to the treasurer's office here. That new amount is $4.854 million. Is the new estimate for what we're going to get annually. And then property taxes, I always like to remind all the citizens that the board has committed maximum property taxes for the past 3 years, and that'll be $2,686,000. So road use tax is about 54% of new revenues. Property tax is 30%, and then the auction tax is in 2009 it went up to 1 cent. Half of that, half a cent goes directly to the road department for construction improvements of roads and bridges, and that's $930,000, is 1/2 of the amount collected. And that's about 10% of new revenues. So that I call that the big three. I mean, there's other miscellaneous revenue, there's grants that you sporadically get, whatever. And then the other sources of other revenues that don't directly come to the county. With the new revenues, with the gas tax increase, we estimate we'll have $1.4 million of road use taxes in the farm to market account, $290,000 of federal bridge funds, and $350,000 of federal surface funds. So, yeah, so that's kind of a quick and dirty. And you might want to, I can come back to this after the letting, or whatever.
We can come back to that. We have to come back to it. It is 10:30. We'll continue on the bid letting for bridge replacement project L-002-711-73-96 and L-002-725-7394.
If anybody else needs one, excuse me. Yeah. Contractors? There we go. I need to keep going, so there we go. Okay.
Do we need to recess the hearing? Or break the meeting?
Hearing, but we recess the hearing.
We're in public hearing.
We're in a public hearing on the
Oh.
project corner.
So we need a motion to recess.
They're both public hearings, you could just,
We can have one hearing going the other one at the same time. Two hearings.
you guys are good.
Multitasking is what they
Yes.
call it.
Okay.
Chair hasn't closed yet. He's just opening.
I stopped in mid-flow of the hearing on the 5-year construction program. I guess that's recess, and we do have a duty at 10:30 to have our bid letting, so I'm gonna, you all get a handout, and I have this boilerplate information, but what we're doing is having a bid opening for bridge replacements. One's on Dakota Avenue, south of 140th Street, and one's on 145th Street, east of Dakota. These bridges are projects of all the types of bridges that are close to 3-ton load limits, 2 miles west of Clare. The notice of bidders was in the 3 county newspapers, and the Iowa DOT letting bulletin. What I'm going to do, my assistant Brian Henderson's opening these, and we're going to verify that we have an acceptable form of proposal guarantee, certified check, cashier's check, or bid bond. And then there's several bid items. What I intend to do is read the total amount. And these projects are tied because they're close to each other, and we desire to coordinate with one contractor. And then the total amount bid for each project will be read and then added together to determine a parent low bidder. And after everything's read, Brian and I will verify the bid items and extensions. So the second sheet in my handout is the bid opening tabulation sheet, if you want to follow along. So I don't know how many bids we have here, but I'll read them off in whatever order he gives them to me. Okay. First bid will be from Rognus Brothers Excavating, Lake Mills, Iowa. And I'm going to read 002701. Okay. They have a proposal guarantee of DOT that's signed and sealed, that's acceptable. And they have signed the bidding proposal. Their total, $112,235.00. $112,235.00. And then the second one for Rognus is 002725. Again, they have the DOT signed. They have all the bid items. Okay, their total is $145,543.00. 145,543.00. Okay. Next we have Midwest Contracting from Marshall, Minnesota. I'm going to read their 002701. They have a bid bond, Liberty Mutual, that's signed and sealed, that is acceptable. Their bid is $113,280.00. I have arrow here. Is that 895, right? Okay. 113,280.00. Midwest Contracting, their other project, 002725. They have the Liberty Mutual bid bond signed. Their total, $147,765.00. 147,765.00. Next we have Riley Construction, Ossian, Iowa. Okay. I'm going to open up 002701. Their bid proposal, bid bond is on DOT, signed and sealed. And their bid, $136,875.00. 136-875-00. And then Riley, on the second project, they do have the proposal guarantee signed and sealed. Their bid is $211,425. 211425.00. Next we have Whiteman Incorporated, Dow's, Iowa. I'll go to the bid bond. DOT form signed and sealed. 002701. $123,423.00. 123,423.00. Whiteman on the other project, proposal guarantee is signed and sealed. $157,345.00. 157,345.00. And this looks like the last bid. Peterson Contractors Incorporated, Rhinebeck, Iowa. 002701. There's DOT form signed and sealed. Their total $107,397.50. 107,397.50. And then Peterson on the second project, proposal guarantee is signed and sealed. Okay, the amount is $150,957.50. 150,957.50. So I was not writing these down, but it appears that you've got some reliable people there.
Currently, it looks like Rognus at 257,778. Next closest will be Peterson at 258, 354, 50. No,
you're wrong.
no. 257, 770, and 258, 354, and 50 cents. Even. So it appears at this point, Rognus is a little bit at 257, 778.
What I would, usually what I recommend to do is obviously, my office needs to go through every bid item and extension, and there's a process if there's any errors of what governs. And usually there's not errors, but occasionally there is. If that is okay, I recommend you make a motion like I have at the bottom of the page there. You authorize the county engineer to send the contractor to the lowest responsible bid subject to the final review. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate all the bids.
Yes, yes. Now we'll go back to the 5-year construction plan.
Okay,
We need to close that hearing. We need to close the bid letting hearing.
You actually, yeah.
We should have closed the hearing and looked at the plan. We did.
okay.
Remember?
Okay, you know, I don't know how much, there are a lot, 66 projects, and they're all broken down. They're not extremely detailed. It's a 11 by 17 map. Locates projects on the right-hand side, gives a brief explanation of what the plan is on. We do have, again, we have 182 structures in the county that are need to be inspected every 24 months as required by FHWA rules. And we do that, and we do have 50 posted structures. The two that were let today, I know Joe Suter and I looked at shortly, I don't know if you picked up on it, but shortly after we reviewed this, we had the inspections done. They were going on almost simultaneously. We lowered those postings to 3 ton. The one, if we don't get it replaced here in the near future, we got to close that. So, we're trying to do what we can. We've done numerous structures over the past numerous years. So, I don't know if there's any specific questions. The only other comment I make is, and that was brought up possibly at other meetings, is the regarding secondary roads, and not necessarily road projects, is the county, we have county improving road maintenance facilities. That's a necessary evil in some people's lives, but in order to, we have a lot of valuable, high-cost equipment, and we have a duty to provide some modern facilities for storage and repairs. And we've identified a long-range plan what we'd like to do. The most immediate need is the Yotha facility, and we're on a schedule, I believe, to get that accomplished in the next 12 to 18 months. That's the goal anyway. And again, I want to go in great detail, but at 2096 240th Street, that's the existing site we have. It's poorly drained. We had to do something, and we've identified the best alternative at this time. There's a approximate 10 acres immediately that the county owns immediately east of the Harvest Baptist property on 225th Street that we're working on to get that accomplished. And we'll have many more discussions about this and probably a few agenda items on this matter as we go through the process. So I'd rather go meticulously on this and do it right and make sure every question you have is addressed, or concern or whatever. Okay? I'm willing and available to talk about any specific project. I talked to Mr. Bussey here earlier. I know we have a challenging situation in Fairbanks that some hard decisions have to be made here in the near future. And I guess I didn't quite finish the structure that the north structure over Lizard is going to be approximately $750,000 up to $1 million by the time you get a structure in there and get the grading work and everything. And then if you put a new structure in, and then the one south of that, it goes over the tracks, that's going to be almost a very similar cost. And what's really restricting about that whole stretch of road is the railroad that goes over the top of Fairbanks that restricts large, tall traffic. And it's not, if you've ever driven, it's not very positive. It's a, you kind of go and dip underneath, and then we do have rains and water ponds there for a while. We do have, I believe, signs that warn of a limited overhead crossing, and then I think we do have some signs about water on the road when we have those high rain events. But that probably is something that's going to be the most challenging one that needs to be addressed soon.
Yes, comments from the crowd? Barry?
We've got a group that this road really affects here today. Can we meet with Randy right after this meeting to just
Sure.
talk about concerns just a little bit?
Yeah, is it meet my office or I have next door meeting room?
Yeah,
Is that okay?
just for a little
Whatever you guys
bit.
want to do.
Because I don't want to stretch this out,
Okay.
but we've got some real concerns because it's the only two things on this whole thing where it says Lowe's Road. And
Yeah.
when I farm.
That's an
there-
option. That's an
Yeah,
option.
it's, but the amount of traffic that goes up and down that road is a lot. And so that's why I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah.
And we do care about what
Right.
happens on that road.
Right.
We'd encourage you to have lots of conversations with the engineer about it. So, I'll close the public hearing.
Just a question, Randy. Can you tell me what the big red numbers are on page 7?
Okay, on page 7, that's red is negative, yeah. Yeah, if you just want to quickly dwell on both pages, I'll gotta go to page 7 first. We get a allocation. It's a complex formula of bridge funds. We get about $290,000 allocated to the county. You have some choices there. You can have a big project you can save up for, or you can do multiple projects. It's permissible to be up 3 to 6 years in the red. I think ours is going to be about 3-ish, and maybe 4 in the red. As long as the DOT will not, occasionally they have restrictions about when you can't continue to let something. But you're going to say, well, why are you in the red? Because, I don't know, I failed to bring down what we've done the last 12 to 14 years. We've done a lot of work. And the philosophy is you do as much as you can within your financial means, but construction doesn't seem to be any less expensive. So, so we've been aggressively trying to improve the roads and bridges throughout the county. What the code says is that, you're supposed to do things as economically on the entire system of roads, and so that's what that is. And the only way not to be in the red is just stop doing things that involve federal bridge monies until but either the stop title comes up because you've exceeded the whole limit, or you just wait and pause and do a project when you have a positive balance.
What would cause us to default? In other words, what would have to occur in order for us to be on the hook for $1 billion? Or are we ever on the hook for $1 billion?
Well, I would think, I suppose the federal government would, I don't know, these are federal funds. Obviously, it's all tax money that gets shipped to Washington and gets shipped back. And I think we might be a donor state, where we pay in $1 or $2 and get $1 less than $1. We pay $1, get 98 cents back. Would we be on hook for being in the hole? I suppose that's a possibility, but one way to, I don't know if I answered that question. I guess you gotta have trust that you can, things will continue, or you back off on doing projects. And that's what's challenging to priorities, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but there's transportation networks, there's key bridges and roads that need to be fixed, and if, maybe I'll show these gentlemen what we've done over the past several years that we've we've not concentrated on that corner of the county, that corner of the county, we've done the whole county a pretty good job of replacing bridges and resurfacing roads and so forth.
Can you tell me overall with this 5-year plan, have you plugged in the new road use dollars into this? So this plan's way more aggressive than, a little more aggressive than what it was
Well,
last year.
yes, you look at the notes from last year, I think it was $15+ million. Now it's $20+ million. So I've plugged in those numbers, 986,000 times 5 years. Yeah.
Randy, you get primary roads that are serviced by and maintained by the DOT. Is it the responsibility in our county of the DOT to monitor those roads in terms of condition? What I'm concerned about and refer to is a significant amount of wear and tear and traffic on 7 around the ag park. Is that something they monitor, or is that something you monitor?
That is their jurisdiction, their responsibility. One more time, we have primary, county, and city roads. Highway 7, Highway 175, 169, 20, and 144 are all DOT. When we paved roads of Hayes Avenue, Harvest Avenue, Green Avenue, we had to work with them with some turning lanes. We did get some RISE grant funds that were spent on the turning lanes and spent on the roads that are totally in our jurisdiction. But if anything in the future needs to be done to Highway 7, in my opinion, Webster County has no financial responsibility on that Highway 7 corridor.
Item 18 on the agenda is approve and authorize the chair to sign fiscal year 2016 budget and 5-year construction program for the Webster County Road Department. We want to do that concerned to the other people.
Well, I just make sure, I think you guys fully are aware that today I'm not concerned about the project because it's 3 or 4 years from now. And I think we're all committed to make sure that it's done right. So just because we're approving the 5-year plan today, doesn't mean we're approving that project, just so everybody's aware of that, so.
Any comments on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Citizens' opportunity to address the board with items not on the agenda. Anything else from the citizens today? Board of Supervisors committee reports? We went to ISAC last week, had really good meetings at ISAC, Maryland, Mark and I did, so just regular meetings that talk about cybersecurity the most, and security in the courthouse, that's good information on that, so we're all, yeah. Good. Motion to adjourn? So moved. Sorry. We are adjourned today, happy St. Patrick's Day. You people have your green on. I'd like to welcome Mr. Singer back from his sabbatical in Florida, wherever he was at. So first item on the agenda, approve the minutes of the March 10th, 2015 regular meeting. Approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Motion and second, any comments on minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 2 on the agenda is receive and place on file drainage repairs. We did have one today. Drainage District number 35 in Webster, joint with 18 Green. There's an old line in Lost Groves Township, section 31, 20-inch old line squashed